right, MVP launch episode 9. This week we have Dan Schmitz from petal.tech. Hello, Dan.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how are you?
Good. Thank you.
So
Excited to be on
Dan,
here. Yep.
yeah, we're excited to
Yeah.
have you. So what is Petal?
So, Petal is a startup that I founded a couple years ago. We've got a team of four at this moment, and essentially we are on the path toward building telepathy. We're the grand vision is to continue building abilities that augment the human potential, but right now we're starting with telepathy as a superpower. And
Cool.
essentially, um, what I mean when I say telepathy is the ability to communicate either with people or things just by using one's mind.
It's like X-Men.
Yeah, in a sense. Yeah,
Uh,
pretty.
s-
So,
so,
what is the problem that you're trying to solve?
So that is a question that I've been kind of going back and forth on over the years, and has kind of shifted a lot and narrowed in scope a lot. On a grand scale, the main problem that we're addressing is, eliminating the need to have to reach out or move physically to interact with our software, or speak to it, and try to create kind of more of a natural interaction with our software and our things. And then on a very finite level, we are solving the literal problem of streaming brainwaves to your desktop computer, and then making sense of it so that you might be able to make some sort of software that you can interact with your things with just by thinking. And so the first tangible problem that we're going after is basically just the streaming element of it.
So, it sounds like your product is something like if I want to turn on the TV instead of I just switch out for the remote, I can just wear some sort of device so that I can transfer the signal to the device that I'm wearing. And I'm just thinking about, hey, please turn on the TV, and the TV would turn on for me. Is
You,
this
you
your product?
Yeah, you got it. And so whether it's the TV or the any kind of media device player, if you're streaming music or you're playing video games, the thought is, um, that we are creating kind of like a universal remote control, in that, we're able to translate brainwaves into thinking left, right, up, down, some of these active actions, but then also having some passive analytics too, whether you like something, whether you dislike it, how focused you are, that sort of thing. And so we're heading toward creating a universal library of these telepathic commands, and making it available for software developers or researchers or artists, anyone who wants to be able to make products that are telepathic.
Interesting. Yeah, I know there's been a lot of development in this space. Like I know Neuralink, like that's the Elon Musk thing, is really big. There's also lots of different things for people that are handicapped. Like if you can't move your hands, I know they do like maybe they do eye tracking. Is that you probably know more?
Yeah. So that's part of it, and one of our first users was by a gentleman who had lost use of his wrist to use a computer mouse, because he does it all day every day for many years. And so one of these first gestures was to be able to map brain waves and muscle movements to a mouse control, right? Being able to left click and right click. And so we've done experiments with that to use artificial intelligence that basically learns his specific way of wanting to click or right click. And that was step one, right? Just being able to go on and off, and you wouldn't necessarily have to do the repetitive motion with your fingers. Then we combined it with eye tracking and had that control where the mouse was on the screen. And so the combination of those two modalities as input is very powerful, right? And that's kind of the gestures piece of our product.
Cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Really
What
cool.
was like the motivation? So you've been working on this for a couple years. Where did this idea come from?
Well, I think the idea kept getting reinforced when we talked with people who, had a need to eliminate reach or speech in order to interact with their things. But it really was driven just from hacking with this new technology and trying to see, all right, what can we do in order to control things just with our mind, right? I mean, voice technology was neat. That's been around forever, but there's a lot of situations where voice is just inappropriate or it's not feasible. And so we thought, okay, how can we take it to that next level and just think the commands, right? And just tell it what to do.
So how accurate is the signal that you're reading? Because like you're saying that this person he tried to do left click, right click, like how accurate is that?
Yeah, so we've found that using machine learning and artificial intelligence allows you to get a very, very high degree of accuracy. Um, after I want to say it was only 100 trials, so about 20 minutes of initial training. Now, granted, we didn't have a generalized algorithm across every single brain, so for themselves, a little bit of training, and they were seeing upwards of 97, 98% accuracy, and so it was at the point where it was usable, right from the, or I wouldn't say right from the get go, but from 20 minutes in. Now the thought is, okay, if we have X number of brains being as input, and we're able to kind of cluster what everyone thinks as left click or right click, we would be able to minimize that training time so that someone would be able to just put on a device and go right away, starting from that generic algorithm and then customizing it and tweaking it to the person's individual signals. And we've been using off-the-shelf hardware. This is a brainwave sensing device from the Muse. It's called the Muse S. I just put our own little sticker on it, but they definitely did the hardware, and we're just
Nice.
enhancing it with software. Right. And so the primary use case for this one is to, help you meditate or help you track your sleep. The issue is a lot of developers are, trying to get into the brain computer interface arena, and they don't know where to start. That they don't have the tools to do it. It's hard to get set up. There's a steep learning curve. You can't really stream brainwave data to your desktop. And so we wanted to simplify that process. Take it a step further, once you get your brainwaves streaming, on your computer, you're like, okay, what the heck do I do with it? It's just a bunch of raw numbers that it's measuring electricity on your scalp. And so we take that step further because without a neuroscience background, it's pretty much impossible to interpret these data and abstract it to a level that's meaningful for you. So for the academic scientist, maybe they love that kind of raw data. For a software developer who has no idea about any of the neuroscience stuff, but knows how to implement an API, well, we've got getting started guides for you, right? And you can write Python, you can write JavaScript, you can do that kind of stuff. Take it even further, and we've worked with artists and people in fine art trying to measure analytics for VR opera. Well, let's try and make it even simpler for you, right? And just give you the buttons and the output. Can you measure a level of focus from 0 to 100? Great. That's going to be much different from the raw electricity that you get out of the box, which is a very complicated problem in itself to get in a usable format on your computer.
Cool.
So, what have you learned while building? Are there anything that surprised you?
I feel like over the years, there's been so much that I've learned. It's probably difficult to articulate here. I mean, with regard to electricity specifically, you definitely understand the importance of having kind of an enclosed system. We were in South Korea a couple of years ago demoing for one of a very large company there, who has a ton of influence, just to show them and introduce this BCI technology. And the room was so electrically noisy that the demo just it was not going to work at all. It just absolutely wasn't. So understanding to prepare ahead of time. Luckily, we did get it working on the roof of the Airbnb that we were staying at, and because there wasn't a lot of electrical signal, we were able to make a demo video and showcase that. But just having an understanding of the environment that you're in is a big thing.
Interesting. So like other electronics were interfering with the
The
brainwaves.
noises, yeah, sounds like.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
it turns out, I mean, because it was pretty much just a raw circuit board. I mean, it didn't have any enclosure or anything kind of shielding that electrical activity. And of course, the one Airbnb that we picked happened to be, and we didn't know this, it happened to be right above a very busy office. So there was all this electronics and stuff that was interfering even in our apartment. So I was like, what the heck? So the only place that we were able to get this thing to truly work was on the roof at the time. But since then, we've learned a lot and have improved the technology a bunch. But it was kind of a big slap in the face at first.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. So had your idea evolved over time? Like, what's the original idea?
Yeah. Originally, I was playing Mario Kart with my brain, and I was like, "This is cool. How do I turn this into a remote control or something universal?" Um, I mean, my interest really lies in interaction, and my background's in interaction design. So I want to make it easier for people to interact with their things. So Mario Kart ended up evolving into the telepathic lamp, and this was a little demo we were bringing around. We set up in a bar to this investor then too, who we were way too early, all that kind of stuff, and we were right. I was really immature in my startup mindset and didn't understand where my beachhead was. I didn't understand where I was going to start or where we were going to start, and then grow and expand from. But we brought this lamp around, and it was pretty cool. It was a really neat thing where you just had a lamp that we attached a little Wi-Fi chip to, and then when you focused and your focus level was above 70, let's call it, it turned on the lamp, and everyone was flabbergasted. They're like, "Whoa, it's crazy!" But it was so incredible and so motivating, and that was the moment, not in the bar, but like before that, when we're just clicking and everything with the lamp. To be able to feel what it's like to be telepathic is nuts. I mean, you're not translating words. I'm not being like, turn on the lamp and then it hears me, as one of these voice recognition things
Yeah.
would do. But you feel like you have the force because you do, and it's just it's unexplainable. I don't know. I'll have to send this to you guys so you can try it sometime. But it's just
Yeah.
Yeah, for
that was
sure.
that was your light bulb moment, huh?
Yes, 100%. It was.
Yeah.
The ideas went off.
I like how, because something that we've kind of been dealing with is like, you kind of want to rule the world, right? You want to dominate everything, but really like the best ideas are just so simple. Like you just have to grain, like what is like the simplest version of Petal, right? It's just I can turn a light bulb on with my brain, right? Like
Totally.
just like whittling it down to like the essence of the idea, and I think that's the best way to communicate.
Probably. I mean, literally, we are the middleware between what you want to happen and what happens, right?
Yeah.
So you're intending for the light to go on. Okay, you just send your brainwaves through Petal. It translates. It communicates to the lamp, and it turns on. That can be any connected device, right? And in the future, every single product is going to be controlled by software, right? It's just that is how it's going. You have the Internet of Things. You're going to have your stove controlled by software. I mean, it kind of is already with some firmware, but every internet connected thing, eventually, I think as software continues to evolve, will eventually be run by AI algorithms, right? And so now you have every software run by AI, and you have every product run by software. We have to make that connection then between the human mind or what you intend to happen and the AI that's going to control it. And so what I see Petal as is kind of this telepathic agent. And this might be getting too out there, too kind of wild, but I don't know. I mean, if we just want to take a step back and describe Petal like very easily, it's a way to translate your thoughts into actions. But it's more than that, and it's kind of the decoding of brainwaves so that you know what, I'm struggling for words right now. Basically, we're just digitizing thoughts. I mean that's the essence of it.
Yeah, I like that.
Cool.
Let's show you a demo.
Or we can pop your website. Maybe
Yeah.
you just talk through like what we're seeing, or maybe anything that's cool that someone can check out.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, okay, I mean, it kind of caters to a couple different type of people. If you can code and you enjoy programming or whatever, we do have an API that makes this easy for you, right? You just can go up in the top right corner, hit API, and that'll lead you to your documentation and everything.
Oh, here. So what does the API provide? Does it provide the data, or does it provide a way to translate the data?
More translating the data. So we have a way to extract the brainwaves and send them to your computer. The API then essentially makes sense of all this stuff in real time on any device. Well, actually, I should specify any desktop, right? Is cross-platform in that sense. Essentially, it allows you to process brainwave data in real time and then spit out meaningful information. So it just depends on what's meaningful to you. We're on Twitch, so if there's esports gamers or something like that, useful might be measuring, okay, how focused am I while I play League of Legends? And so, yeah, I think what you're seeing right now, I'm looking at the other screen, are a couple of the use cases that we've had people use, right? And so on the top left there, that was an art installation project where we connected 3 brains at once, and they were all hooked up to different lights and sounds. And when people were in harmony, their brains were, very, very similarly behaving. Then the sounds and the lights would go in sync. It was such a neat experience.
Nice.
Yeah, next to that is it combines eye tracking with brainwave activity, so you can tell, okay, where, when someone is watching a video, where are they really paying attention down to the millisecond level, which is extremely powerful. On the right,
I'm just thinking like it'd be cool. Like I'm just thinking in my brain, I'm like, man, it'd be cool to like hook up like when you have a song stuck in your head to be able to be like, all right, let's get the song going and actually hear. It's like this is the song, and it's like in your head or whatever.
Oh man, that'd be nuts, and I think that'd be possible.
I don't even know how. Yeah, I don't even know how that would work, but that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of thing can you detect? Like you're detecting this like brain wave, but like besides just clicking, like wide left clicking, can you translate words? Like how much can it translate?
Yeah, so we're definitely not at the level to translate words. However, you can, not with the piece of hardware that I showed before, but it is definitely possible to translate imagined motor movements. So if I imagine moving my right arm, there's ways to detect that different from my left or my legs and that sort of thing. So there's motor imagery. That's a big part of it. You can also elicit certain brainwaves by using a visual interface, and you can kind of show different things on the screen, whether that's flashing something at a certain frequency. You're able to detect those types of things. To be able to get down to the word level, that would require much higher resolution than we can get on the outside of the scalp using non-invasive devices. But you look at companies that have come before, and including Neuralink, that are invasive devices. They can increase their level of resolution a lot, and I think we're moving toward that type of degree of precision. But here's the thing, certain communication channels are useful for certain things, right? Like you go to a long form newspaper, you're able to get really specific and everything with all the words, and it takes a lot of words to convey what you mean. And contrast that with Twitter, you're able to express something in a much smaller scale. Contrast that again with just sending emojis. it's a different type of mode of communication. And so how I see this useful, at least initially, are with these active controls, and they can be directional. You can map, whatever these button presses or directions are to whatever you want, right? So even if I'm measuring muscle movement, take thoughts out of it, but just being able to detect, with the same device, someone's level of concentration, as well as if they raise their eyebrow, they lower it, they wink, they any kind of facial movements, you can map those to different key presses and still accomplish your goal, right? And this is, I think, the idea, the MVP of telepathic communication. It's it's not necessarily, I'm just sitting here and I'm able to control everything, but you're able to do it without making speech. It is 100%, right? And this is step one toward doing that.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, now we want to see your demo now.
Sure.
Can you share your screen?
Oh, yes. Let me do that. I have you guys up here on the other monitor. And I've lost, there we are, my mouse.
So you've done, you said you started with Mario Kart, which I remember that was really fun. You've done the light bulb. You've done some different, what other?
I feel like you should probably do what the other Twitch people do. Like they just use your mind playing Mario Kart on Twitch.
I think you should just get on Twitch once a week and just be demoing Petal with playing Mario Kart.
I could definitely. So one thing I am interested in is playing Risk, because I love that game, and it's a lot more of a. Oops, my keyboard is busted. There we go. This is good. This is good, Dan.
Oh,
should we share it on the screen?
Should we throw it up?
Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. Oh, okay. It would probably help if I turned on my brain.
This is exciting. This is some new technology.
Yeah, and the headband's super slick. Like, I feel like when you started, it was like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids type of helmet.
Yeah.
And now it's like a cool ninja headband.
So where do you get those headbands?
So this one was created by Muse. You can go to choosemuse.com or your favorite retailer that holds it. I don't actually know all of them that do. Okay, so what you're seeing now, and granted it's probably very small.
Just do Command Plus maybe a few times?
Yeah, Command Plus.
Or you're at Control Plus, Zoom. I don't know, Windows can be goofy.
Control Plus should work, right?
What I would think. I don't know if that works in okay.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah, so what do those numbers mean?
So it's a log of, it's almost like coordinates, like geolocation almost.
Sort of, yeah. So essentially this is actually the output of our API. This isn't even the raw stuff. So you can see how fast it's going. It's computing and running through, many, many algorithms and stuff to make this brainwave data usable. This is really usable by scientists and researchers in that, but it's like, that's maybe not who all we're talking to. We try to simplify it a little bit, and because we're running locally, I'm not going to open up our exact algorithm for our focus state, but you can pretty much use alpha band power as a proxy to that. And okay, now the zoom is just made this really interesting. Hold on a second, folks.
I feel like this product that you're making can totally compete with Neuralink, like Elon Musk's project.
Yeah,
like it's literally the same thing.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'd want to have like a Neuralink injected into my brain. Like
I feel like a headband might be a lot better.
Yeah.
Well, so here's kind of an analogy for you, and I was just thinking about this the other day, so it's really raw and not thought out. I kind of imagine Neuralink to be similar to LASIK when it first came out, because maybe like you get these crazy headlines of people are using lasers to carve and burn your eyeballs and like blah blah blah. And nowadays it's like you can get a Groupon for it. I could be like, okay, yeah, $40, I'm going to go get LASIK, and then all of a sudden I have permanent, better vision, or at least long term. Mm-hmm. Whereas these non-invasive devices are just like, glasses, right? They're bifocals. So they do a job. They augment my ability. Right now, it's like, okay, I can see better. That's great. I didn't need surgery for that. Well, now I can interact with my software better just by putting on a headband. And you saw how easy that was to do.
Yeah.
So I kind of see, see it as that. Okay, so now we're going to run the demo, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So what we're looking at is Unity, and I have a few different streams that are available to me just by clicking this button. You saw how easy that was, right? You don't need to be a programmer to click a button. And all of a sudden, you have accelerometer data, you have telemetry, you have raw brainwave data and gyroscope, everything that a game developer would be interested in. And so
that's just your movement of your head. That's like tilt and whatnot.
That stuff, but the EEG, that's the electricity aspect of it. So that's your raw brainwave data. And from there, we can do a lot with that. So let me go ahead and hit play with local metrics, and you should be able to see those band power values come through here. If I change my scale back, unless I broke something, which, I sure did. And for a stream, fantastic. Let's start this one over. Yeah, so now you're able to stream, your brainwave data into Unity, and so they're showing up right here, and that's great. And remember, this alpha is kind of the proxy for focus. So if I really,
You have the wave?
it's a little choppy. No, it's going. Maybe it's not coming through very fast on the stream, but that number goes down, right? And essentially shows, okay, this person is more focused, less focused. Now, all I'm doing is adjusting the text on the screen, but you can easily set that to be the background color of a sky game, or you can make your own little focus widget and have it slide as a percentage and everything, right? What I'm showing is literally just the MVP. This is, hey, these are the data that are coming through. You can do more with it if you want to.
Nice. It's MVP launch, man. So
yeah,
that's what we're doing.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I my laptop display busted, so I'm working on a different one. So I don't have the other demos here, but the other ones are more of those gesture mappings. If you go on the Petal Technology LinkedIn page, we can show, I mean that one's from maybe 9-10 months ago, of showing the mapping of facial gestures to key presses, and a key press can be anything. I mean, you can literally, right? You can make that a function. You can have that be play pause. You can have that connect to an if this then that, or what have you, a microservice, and just do whatever you want whenever you wink at the screen. I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah, I could see Nintendo doing something like this. Like they're always at the forefront of these new interactions, like new interfaces, and I mean, it's like you're kind of like at Wii Tennis level, where it's like, okay, we're doing this. It's not really tennis, but it's enough, and it's fun, right? So
totally. Where we are? We are in, man, I don't know if it was like the 1950s or 60s, but Zenith basically had this zap remote. You just point and shoot. It was just light that you would point at one of four corners.
Yeah.
And right there, you didn't have to stand up and go and do the duck hunt. Exactly.
Yeah. Nice.
I always had trouble like shooting that because I was like, where's the spot is at? Like it was so difficult.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, there's no on-screen reticle or anything, which honestly, that's probably gonna be how it is with okay, imagine this for a second, right? Like let's take a step forward into the future. And whether or not you have augmented reality glasses, I don't know. Let's say for a second you don't, right? And now you just have all your different interactable objects around your house. Let's start simple. Let's say you got your TV, you got your lamp, and you got your smart stove. Okay, maybe in the early version of Duck Hunt, you don't have that visual display of, am I pointing at the stove? Am I pointing at the lamp? Am I pointing? But somehow the technology is able to figure out, you're shooting the duck, and I think we'll get there. I mean, you could have audio feedback too. That's like, boom, 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 depending on your device, right? They each got their own sound effects and stuff, and then you just interact with them. The future is it's so cool, and the demo I'm showing right now is so it's I gotta say it to me it's very average compared to some of the really neat stuff that we've put together, and I definitely want to prepare a better one that really allows you to feel the power of this technology, because you see these numbers come in, it's like, oh cool, yeah, I can you guys calculated some stuff on your data, uh, yeah, I could see how they could potentially be useful. It's like, no, when you feel this stuff and you really understand, hey, all I got to do is imagine, and then something happens. It's like, whoa, what? So we'll stay tuned. I'll bring that
Hey,
demo
Yeah.
then.
you're welcome back
Yeah, you
anytime.
definitely will be back for the second time, and then we'll
Yeah,
be showing you really cool
we'll do
MVP
round
launch.
two.
Oh yes.
What are your like goals and obstacles as far as pedal this week?
So we wanted to be hyper focused, so make sure it's just this week, and you can in something that you can finish this week.
Yeah. So this week, I'm going to put pressure on my team. We're going to release this piece of software, right? So right now we've just kind of been testing it with different customers and well, I guess users, because they're not paying, but testing it out, just making sure that things are good. And we've been going through some last bits of QA, and it should be available really, really soon. I'm going to say Saturday.
Nice.
So that's really kind of the goal that we're driving toward is figuring out, okay, how are we going to deploy this thing, and how can we help people right away get their brainwaves onto the computer? Because before, I mean, what people were doing, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I was talking to this one guy, and it took him 3 weeks, and then after that, like just trying to search and figure out stuff, and like downloading different drivers and buying a certain dongle, and it didn't even work, and then eventually found a somewhat working solution for his specific environment. And it's just like, what a headache. Whereas instead, all you got to do is just download this one thing, hit start stream, and it works. It's like, okay, no brainer.
Yeah, no brainer. Yeah, right.
Nice. So what is your obstacle of the week?
Oh, I got to get keys. Sorry, my duck hunt dog has to go poop. That's something that they didn't add in the game. It's like he's always eating, always getting the ducks, but when does he actually?
Well, he's
Anyway.
outside, man.
Remind me of the question. I apologize.
Oh, just your obstacles. You said you wanted to ship
You're gonna
some
launch
software on
your-
Saturday.
yeah.
And what are your obstacles? Is it just time or what? Anything like
Yeah.
technical? holding you back?
Definitely technical. It's all very, very technical. We're working on the order of milliseconds, and we were noticing like a 60 millisecond gap at the beginning of our stream. So we're trying to eliminate that, and I think that was just solved. Not that you need to. I mean, it's really, especially at the start of a stream, it's minimal. But we figured out that problem, and we have such a brilliant team. I'm so proud of my people. Some of the smartest people I think in the world, like world class, and we're solving very, very, very tough issues. So my obstacles coming from like a design or business standpoint are like, I mean, it seems easy, but the type of engineering problems that my team is figuring out and solving, it's incredible. And so I feel like my obstacles are minimal. My main challenge is just making sure that we stay persistent. And I mean, not that it's much of a challenge. I mean, the team is extremely motivated to keep doing this, but that is the hardest thing, I think. Here's a learning lesson, I guess, not about electricity and all that. It's persistence. That is the key to startup success, I believe. It's like anyone can have a great idea. Anyone can have the best idea. Anyone can start it. It's easy to start, but to stay with it and to keep going regardless, and avoiding, I mean, and dealing with all this other crap, all the distractions, all the lack of motivation. I mean, sometimes, yeah, you're going to sleep in the fetal position, you're going to cry, it's going to be tough. You're gonna want to
For
give
sure.
up. You're gonna think it's like, why am I even doing this? But staying persistent is how you're gonna get through it, and making sure that you are building something important that people want. There's no surrogate for having a paying customer or someone who is willing to put in the time to train an algorithm, or it's just like offer their time in order to help you keep going.
I really like that. That's some wise advice, and it's kind of similar to Michael Cyber, who is like the YC founder, and he's saying something like, if you have to have a team that like can consistently building good stuff, and not just good, they have to be fast, because you don't want to build something like 3 years before you launch and then realize that no one wanted your product. You want to keep launching, keep building in quality and fast, and those are the two biggest like features that you have to have in your teammates, and I'm really happy that you have those.
It's true, and honestly, I think we did spend a lot of time kind of just waiting around, or like treading water, and we explored hardware. I have a hardware prototype. It's in my closet of my own BCI headband, but didn't fully pursue that. And then we just have a whole bunch of other prototypes that are great for research and development, intellectual property, that kind of stuff. But in terms of just getting something out there, we were spending, I think, a little bit too much time on trying to perfect it and refactoring versus getting information and then refactoring based on that. And we've gone through a couple of re-architectures of the tech stack, and yeah, I mean, I think we're finally finding success because we're doing it the way that has been preached forever.
Yeah.
And I've been conscious of it. I've been aware of that kind of stuff. But there is a level of depth to that advice that takes time to actually realize and for it to make an impact. Because I've been hearing forever, like, solve a problem, that's important, or like, are you solving a problem? It's just like, yeah, and you hear it so many times almost that it gets to the point where it's like, okay, maybe there's a different approach that's better. But going through the process of it, you realize just that extra layer of depth of like, okay, this is what problem actually means. Right at the beginning of the show, we talked about, okay, what is a problem, and it was like on the grand scale of we're going to create telepathy and all this kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, I truly believe that, but it's hard to pinpoint the how to be really practical with it. So instead of this huge grand vision, which is going to come to fruition, you have to get down to the the tiny problems. We are going to remove the need for a USB dongle and driver in order to send brainwaves over Bluetooth, and like, you know what I mean? And then combine that with a couple other problems that are urgent. They got to be urgent, and they're better if people are already building a workaround solution for it, right? And
right.
Yeah.
That's really, it's so interesting because we built a database of all these like zero waste stores all over the world, and it's up and people are adding things. And then we were talking and going, well, who's our customer? Like, who's gonna pay us for this? And then last week we're like, let's just launch a new page for this new idea we have, popping.live. We built a landing page and a Stripe integration so people can pre-order it within less than a week. And we got it out there, and we're just trying to learn. We're building like our hypothesis is like, okay, there's lots of mobile businesses out there, and they're different than other types of businesses. Like, they don't have a location. You don't find them on Yelp. You don't know when the food truck or these other retailers are going to be around. They just kind of like, you're just walking down the street and they're there, right? Yeah. So they have all these other problems, and our hypothesis is like, I want to know what's popping. Like, I want to know what's around me and going on, and they want to have customers, right? Yeah. So we need to build a solution for that. So our hypothesis is like, somebody will pay for that. And we were talking to other people, and they kind of expressed like these sorts of issues with mobile businesses. So yeah, solving like someone's actual problem that they're willing to pay you to solve today.
Yeah.
Or it's more valuable than anything else. Right. And I think that like your approach is really nice, like the brain wave detections, like, and how you can control it with your brain. Like, who will be the people that needed it the most? So I think like when Elon Musk like introduces Neuralink, it was really interesting because he was trying to serve the people who are having problem controlling their body, like the older folks that are like losing the power of their movement. So they target those people. They're like, okay, I can make them walk again, Like, so that's really powerful, right? That's the people that need it the most. And I think your approach will be the same way. Who will be the people that needed your software the most?
And it might be video games. I mean, it could be anything.
It could be anything. Yeah,
it
it doesn't have to be these people that cannot walk. It could be just like these people cannot see or cannot click, or they just needed something else. Like, and your software can save their life, and that's the people who pay for your software.
Honestly, even if we could make it free for people to be independent, I'd love to do that, right? If there is a way to have the capital to, fund the team to be able to do that, to make that, reality, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
And
it's got to be sustainable.
It gotta be sustainable. Like the thing with sustainable is a lot of people think that, oh, I can just give out for free, but you have to pay the team for money. You have to pay the software for it to keep going. So the most sustainable way is that you can make money out of it yourself,
and then reinvest in tech and make it better.
And
it's a better system,
growing, and then solve every kind of other problem as well.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely start with. I guess what we're starting with is like the need to help people become independent, right? So the people that require assistance, just make it independent, and then from there you move to convenience. It's like, okay, I'm lazy. I really don't want to go over there and touch it, so I'm just gonna wink at it, or something like that. It's just like, I don't know who that is, and we're trying to figure that out. And I think that's going to be a constant journey that's not fixed in time. Like throughout the business life cycle, needs are going to change. How long ago did we think that we were going to be wearing masks all the time and not be able to go in places? Okay, businesses had to evolve because the needs evolved, right? And bringing restaurant food to, or like everyone had to be either delivery or takeout. Everyone had to. And before that, it was all about the dining experience and whatever. If they had not evolved, sorry, you're out, Yeah. And that's the same thing with how we're doing. So just having that constant pulse on what people need is huge.
Yeah, and I know with remote controls for TVs, like when those first came out, people were laughing. They're like, why would I need to use that? I could just get up and switch it myself, whatever. And now every TV has a remote.
It's crazy, yeah. People pay for convenience. I mean, it's just, that is a thing, right? And so, yeah, like even myself, if I want to change the music right now, I use a certain smart agent, an AI thing I interact with, but if I'm listening to music, I gotta, hey, blah blah blah, or blah 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 blah, do your trigger word. It interrupts the music. It cuts off your flow, and if you're lucky enough, it'll hear you, understand, and play the right song. Or like I really gotta tell it to turn the volume up. That's just stupid. It should know. Okay, this is not what the person wants. They definitely want the volume up. Can we just interpret that? The key is yes, you can, and have it and have it just adjust based on what the person wants, because that's their intention. We just have such an archaic way of doing it. Like we have to produce physically. You have to go, and you have to like make these noises and hope that it interprets those noises just so that its noises are a little louder. It's wild.
Yeah, I think 10 years from now we'll be looking back and feel a little silly.
Yeah, totally. And that's why we got to start with our MVP. It's just like, all right, the gestures that we're doing right now, even if it's just like something like this. And granted, I understand not everyone can freely move their eyebrows, so this is not meant to be offensive. But for a lot of people, this is seemingly an easy mode to interact with things. God, I'm kicking myself. I don't even want to continue with this example. But basically, what I'm trying to say is we have to start somewhere, and with respect to these telepathic commands and stuff, everything internal, this is a great starting point. The classic MVP example is like, okay, a person wants to get from A to B. Do you build the whole car? Or do you build it like one tire, an axle, a steering wheel? It's like, no, you start with the MVP. You want to get them from A to B regardless. You give them a skateboard. Oh, this is great. Okay, well, now I want to go faster. Okay, you give them a bicycle, and they can still get to A to B every single time. Whereas, if you start by building the car right
You'll
away,
never get it.
you're just
Yeah.
waiting around. Yep.
Yeah, I
Cool.
like that. I like that.
Any like recommendations of like anything?
Like books, movie, or anything you can think of.
Lifestyle things, whatever.
Books, yeah. This is a great one. The Startup Owner's Manual,
Oh, I haven't heard of that.
a step-by-step guide for building a great company.
Nice.
Who wrote that?
Yeah,
Steve
by
Blank
who?
and Bob Dorff, who I believe, you have to go back to chapter 1 or before chapter 1. They were the ones that taught the class and basically influenced the lean startup, which is, it.
Eric Ries, right?
Yep. Of course, right? Got to be on the bookshelf. So this was basically the first case study from the instructors. And so this is definitely one I would read. I mean, it's got checklists. Like you can go through. It's just like, okay, now I know I have to create a high fidelity MVP. Here's how to do it for web and mobile. Here's how to do it for hardware. But it talks more about this customer discovery process, and I couldn't recommend this one enough. No,
customer discovery is, that's something we're dealing with right now, because you kind of want to, like, for those early customers, we're struggling with, like, okay, I don't want to pitch them on what we did, but I want to get info. I want to ask them, like, what are they doing? What have they tried? Without saying, like, hey, I built this thing, you should buy it, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a little...
Totally.
It's a balance.
And I mean, it's essentially a guide, just being like, okay, put together a problem presentation and show, hey, these are the top 3 problems we think you're experiencing. Are these accurate? Yes or no? What are your current solutions, or how are you dealing with this? How urgent is the problem? Like, it gives you a whole scorecard. I'm surprised more people aren't successful in startups if they have this book. Now, I was not told at all by these people to push the book, but I found it extremely useful at a practical level.
Yeah, that's great. We should check that out. I know, like, people don't care about, like, your features, right? Like, they don't care, like, oh, you have 10,000 blah, 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 or whatever. They're like, how do I feel? Like, does this solve my problem? And how do I feel when using it? Like, do I feel, like, happy when I use it? And is my problem now gone for whatever price you paid? Like, so that's really all people, that's the only thing they care about.
they find out that, like, in your brain, when you take out, like, the emotion part of it, like, the person just stop making decisions, just do not know how. So, like, they find out that a lot of decision making are actually based on emotional, not because of your logic. Like, yeah, so, like, it's more important how your website make other people feel than, like, what it actually say it is.
That's well, I think that's a very good point, because especially, I mean, let's keep the conversation around MVP, right? MVP does not mean crappy looking product or like rinky dinky piece of crud. It means it's just a small set. I mean, it's essentially, it's a learning tool, right? It's like, okay, what is the most basic version of this product that we can give to someone? You can still create a wonderful, delightful user experience with it, right? You can still have amazing aesthetic. And I mean, obviously the demo that I showed, I think, at least on the Unity side, it was garbage. But the UX of it, like, it's easy to use. All you got to do is click stream, right? And that is essential to the user experiences. Okay, let's minimize cognitive load. Let's not make them think. Let's just make it easy for people.
Yeah. So, awesome. So, what's your recommendation?
Okay, so we were talking about this before. My recommendation is, if you want to get dumplings, buy frozen dumplings from Chinese restaurants directly. So not only are you going to support a mom and pop shop, because, like, Chinese restaurants are all mom and pop shops, you're going to have delicious dumplings, and you're going to have some frozen ones for later.
And also, so you can reduce the packaging.
And you can bring your own
container.
You can bring your own container, and you have no plastic waste. And, you know, we're freaks about plastic waste. Yeah. So my recommendation is go straight to the restaurant and buy frozen dumplings from them.
I think that's great. I mean, and you should know, you were in China forever, right? Didn't you you've been stuck there?
Yeah, that's a whole other story for another stream, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, frozen dumplings, go straight to the restaurant. Don't buy them in the stores. Don't whatever. Just buy frozen dumplings. You'll love it. That's my recommendation.
I usually cook them, but I think if we're gonna buy them,
You go from scratch?
Yeah.
You make dumplings from scratch?
Well, I rely on my fiance a lot, but yeah, we do.
Wow.
What?
A Chinese style, Asian style?
Yep, because she's a good part Chinese, and so we were able to learn a lot of techniques and stuff. But
Nice.
Homemade,
even better. You know what? I could recommend homemade dumplings too, but I'm a little lazy. Cool. Convenience. Yeah, no, that's another thing. We ran into that issue too because our solution for another thing was not convenient. Where can people find you?
I'm right here.
Well,
no, I'm just kidding. Sorry, my dad jokes are getting worse as I age. Yeah, so I think the most useful thing right now is definitely not Instagram. We figured out, at least for our users, we're not posting pretty pictures. I would think just directly at our website is probably the best for now. We do have videos of a couple of our demos on our LinkedIn. But yeah, just petal.tech. It's is our main website for now. So if you just head there, that'll lead you to documentation or downloads and whatnot. And so I'll put it on Saturday. We're going to try and have that download ready. So whether you want to simulate data or you want to use real brainwave data, start making some stuff. Let's make some telepathic software.
Nice, awesome.
I love it.
That's
I think
great.
you should be streaming yourself playing games with your
I think you should launch on Product Hunt as well.
Yeah, launch on Product Hunt.
I have no idea about how to do that. So if you have any advice there, I'm all ears.
Okay, we can talk off the stream. It's super easy. We'll give you some tips.
We launch
it's bad form to ask people to upvote your stuff, which I learned the hard way. I was like, hey, upvote me, but you're not supposed to do that. But
you want to ask for feedbacks. You want to improve your product by talking to users. Also expose yourself to potential users. So that's the idea.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll check them out.
Yeah, you'll see your analytics just get a huge pop.
And,
you'll get a lot of people give you like really good feedback. We've had a lot of really
I think we got like
feedback.
800 people like visit a site or something. Yeah. Because of that.
So that's great. Cool. Nice. That's it. Dan, thanks for coming on MVP Launch.
Yeah, make sure to check out petal.tech and you will find the API link for brainwave translations. And yeah, anything that like comes to brainwave and want to like change your life, go talk to Dan.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for having me. It was quite the pleasure. Appreciate it.
All right. See you later.
See ya.
Bye.
Take care.